Her name is Ava. She graduated 6 months ago with honors. Her laptop is open on a small wooden desk. The screen, a constellation of glowing tabs. One tab is a job posting for a graphic designer in Berlin. Another, a graduate program in literature in London. A third, a volunteer opportunity teaching art to children in a remote village. A fourth is a half-written email to a friend, asking if she can crash on her couch in a city she's never visited. The possibilities are endless. She is, by every modern definition, free. But Ava is not feeling free. She is frozen. Her coffee has gone cold. The hum of the refrigerator is the only sound in the room, a sound that seems to amplify the immense, crushing silence of her own indecision. Every path seems both a promise and a threat. Every choice feels like a betrayal of all the other lives she could live. She pushes her chair back, stands up, and begins to pace the small room, a prisoner circling the invisible walls of her own potential. Have you ever felt this paralysis in the face of possibility? Have you ever stood at the edge of your own future, a vast and open landscape, and felt not excitement, but vertigo, a terrifying dizziness that makes you want to retreat to the one place where there are no choices at all? This feeling, this profound, objectless, and often paralyzing unease, is one of the most misunderstood experiences of the human condition. Our culture often labels it as a problem to be fixed, a flaw in our character, a symptom of a disorder. But what if it isn't a flaw at all? What if this dizziness is not a sign of weakness, but the very sound of our freedom calling to us? Over a century ago, the Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard stared directly into this abyss, and in his masterwork, The Concept of Anxiety, he gave us a language to understand this fundamental human state. He didn't offer a simple cure because he knew it wasn't a disease. Instead, he offered something far more valuable, a mirror to see our anxiety for what it truly is. In this video, we will not be diagnosing a problem. We will be unlocking a power. Using Kierkegaard's profound insights, we will learn to distinguish between common fear and existential anxiety. We will explore his powerful metaphor of anxiety as the dizziness of freedom. And most importantly, you will be given a transformative thinking tool, a way to reframe your anxiety, not as a weight that holds you down, but as the very evidence of your capacity to create your life. This is the first step in learning how to make the leap, even when your feet are trembling. If you're ready to stop fighting your inner world and start understanding it, to turn philosophical wisdom into a practical tool for your life. Make sure you subscribe to MindMirror and click the bell. Let's walk this path of self-discovery together. Let's return to Ava, frozen in her room. What is she afraid of? If a lion suddenly appeared in the doorway, her response would be simple. It would be fear. Fear is concrete. It has an object, the lion. Her body would know exactly what to do, flood with adrenaline, prepare for fight or flight. The problem and the solution would be brutally clear. But there is no lion in Ava's room. There is nothing. And that is precisely the point. Kierkegaard makes a foundational distinction that is the first key to unlocking this entire mystery. He separates fear from anxiety, or in his original Danish, angst. Fear, he says, is always of something. We fear spiders, we fear public speaking, we fear failure. It has a definable object. Anxiety, on the other hand, is always of nothing. Now, this sounds abstract, but it is the most concrete experience of your inner life. When you feel that vague, gnawing unease on a Sunday evening, that sense of dread without a name, what is its object? There is none. You are not afraid of the work week ahead. That would be fear. You are anxious about nothing. And it is this nothing that is the source of its terrifying power. This nothing is the infinite, undefined, and utterly open field of possibility. Think of it this way. A prisoner in a cell fears the guard, but a prisoner who is suddenly released after 20 years may not feel joy, but a profound anxiety. He is no longer afraid of the guard, but he is anxious about the nothingness of a world where he could go anywhere, do anything. His freedom from a concrete threat has thrown him into a confrontation with an infinite abstraction. So, what does this mean for you? That feeling you can't name, that sense of dread that descends for no reason. It isn't a sign that you're broken or irrational. It is the perfectly rational response of a free being staring into the face of its own freedom. It's your spirit waking up to the fact that nothing is written in stone. You are not a pawn in a game. You are a player, and the board is wide open. The first step in dealing with this feeling is to stop calling it fear and to call it by its true name, anxiety. You are not afraid of something. You are anxious about the possibility of anything. So, the first key we've unlocked is this: the vague, objectless dread you feel isn't irrational fear. It is anxiety, the natural and profound response to infinite possibility. But that only raises a more pressing question. Why does this possibility, this freedom, feel so dizzying? Why does it make us feel like we're about to fall? Imagine standing on the edge of a great cliff. There are two distinct terrors you might feel. The first is the common fear of falling. You might slip. A gust of wind could push you. This is a fear of an external force acting upon you. But Kierkegaard points to a second, far more subtle and profound terror. It's the fear that arises when you look down into the abyss and a horrifying thought whispers from within. I could jump. This is not a suicidal impulse. It is the raw, naked realization of your own freedom. In that single moment, you understand that nothing in the world, no law, no rule, no external force is stopping you from taking that step. The only thing holding you back is you. The abyss outside reflects the abyss of possibility inside. That feeling, that nauseating, terrifying, and strangely alluring sensation is what Kierkegaard calls the dizziness of freedom. It is the very essence of anxiety. Let's imagine a character named Ethan. He has been with his partner, Chloe, for 5 years. He loves her deeply. He has a ring in his pocket. Tonight, he plans to propose. He has rehearsed the words. But as he stands outside the restaurant, he freezes. He is not afraid Chloe will say no. He is almost certain she will say yes. What he feels is the dizziness of the abyss. By proposing, he is not just asking a question. He is choosing one future and, in doing so, killing a million other possible futures. The future where he travels the world alone. The future where he meets someone else. The future where he remains undefined. He is staring at the nothingness of his own potential, and his freedom to actualize one path by annihilating all others makes him dizzy. He is anxious. So, what does this powerful metaphor mean for you? When you feel paralyzed by a big decision, whether to take the new job, move to a new city, or commit to a relationship, the anxiety you feel is not just stress. It is existential dizziness. You are not just weighing pros and cons. You are feeling the profound gravity of your own freedom to create your reality. This dizziness isn't a signal to retreat from the cliff edge. It's a testament to the immense power you hold. It's the feeling of your own spirit, your own I, waking up and realizing it is the one who must choose to jump or to step back. We've now seen that anxiety is the dizziness we feel when we look into the abyss of our own freedom, the horrifying and alluring realization that we are the ones who must choose. But this still doesn't quite explain the crushing nature of the feeling. If it's just possibility, just nothing, why does it feel so heavy? We tend to think of nothing as light and something as heavy. A backpack full of books is heavy. An empty backpack is light. Kierkegaard turns this idea on its head. In the realm of the spirit, he argues, nothing is heavier than nothing. Why? Because nothing is not empty. It is pregnant with everything. Imagine a brilliant sculptor, Dr. Eris Thorne, standing before a massive uncarved block of marble. The block is in its current state nothing. It is not yet a statue, but it is also everything. It contains the possibility of every statue that has ever been or ever will be. It could be a hero, a god, a monster, a simple bowl. This infinite potential is a source of immense power, but also immense pressure. The moment he strikes the first blow with his chisel, the moment he makes the first choice, he has not added something, but taken away everything else. Every yes to one form is a million no's to all other forms. This is the weight of anxiety. The nothingness we face in our freedom is not a void, it is a plenum of possibility. When Ava sits staring at her laptop, the anxiety she feels isn't about the specific job in Berlin. It is the weight of the infinite other jobs she will be rejecting the moment she clicks apply. It's the weight of the life unlived in London, the art untaught in the village, the friend unvisited. Freedom's possibility, Kierkegaard shows us, is not a light, airy thing. It is the heaviest burden of all, because it forces upon us the absolute responsibility for the world we choose to create out of the marble of our lives. So, when you feel that crushing weight of indecision, what is the actionable insight? It is to recognize that you are not broken. You are simply carrying the natural weight of a creator. You are an artist standing before an infinite canvas. The anxiety is not a sign that you should put the brush down. It is the sign that the brush is in your hand, and that the act of painting is about to begin. The task is not to eliminate the weight, but to develop the strength to bear it. But how? If rational analysis only reveals more possibilities and increases the dizziness, what is the way out? The insight here is profound. Your anxiety feels heavy because possibility itself contains the weight of everything that could be. You are not paralyzed by a lack of options, but by their infinite number. So, if logic can't save us, and analysis only deepens the vertigo, how do we ever move forward? How do we make the leap from the abyss of possibility to the firm ground of actuality? The ultimate paradox of Kierkegaard's thought is that the only cure for the dizziness of freedom is a certain kind of blindness. The escape from the paralysis of infinite analysis is not a better analysis, it is an act. Kierkegaard calls this the leap of faith, and it's crucial to understand what he means by faith in this context. It is not necessarily religious faith, it is faith as commitment. It is the act of choosing a path and investing it with meaning, not because it is logically proven to be the best path, but simply because you have chosen it. Let's return to Ava for the last time. She has analyzed, she has made lists, she has projected herself into a dozen futures. The dizziness is overwhelming. Logic has failed her. No amount of research will ever tell her with absolute certainty that the job in Berlin is better than the program in London. To continue seeking a perfect, risk-free answer is to remain frozen forever. The leap is the moment she takes a deep breath, closes all the other tabs, and clicks apply for the Berlin job. What happens in that moment? Has she suddenly discovered new information that makes Berlin the correct choice? No, nothing has changed externally. The change is internal. By the sheer act of choosing, she has collapsed the infinite, paralyzing nothing of possibility into a single, concrete something of actuality. The dizziness stops. Not because the cliff has vanished, but because she has chosen to walk on solid ground. The path becomes the right path, because she has chosen to walk it. This is the ultimate anxiety reframing tool. It is the understanding that meaning and certainty are not things you find, but things you create. They are forged in the fire of commitment. Your anxiety is a call to action. It is your spirit's plea for you to stop observing your life from the cliff's edge and to start living it. So what is the practical takeaway for you? Right now, it is to identify one area of your life where you are experiencing this paralysis of choice. It doesn't have to be a monumental decision. It could be as simple as finally signing up for that class, making that phone call, or starting that project you've been putting off. The task is to make a leap, choose one thing, commit to it, and notice the feeling that follows, not the feeling of having made the perfect choice, but the profound relief of having made a choice, the relief of trading the unbearable dizziness of infinite possibility for the simple, solid ground of the actual. Today, we have journeyed into the heart of existential anxiety through the eyes of Søren Kierkegaard. We first learned to distinguish between fear, which has an object, and anxiety, whose object is the terrifying nothing of pure possibility. We then explored his powerful metaphor of anxiety as the dizziness of freedom, the vertigo we feel when we realize we alone are responsible for our choices. We understood that this dizziness feels so heavy because possibility is not empty, but contains the infinite weight of all the lives we could live. And finally, we discovered that the only escape from this paralysis is not more analysis, but the decisive, creative act Kierkegaard calls the leap of faith. The most important tool you can take away from this video is the power of anxiety reframing. Your anxiety is not a pathology to be cured or a weakness to be ashamed of. It is the irrefutable evidence of your freedom. It is the energy of a creator standing before a blank canvas. When you feel it, do not see it as a stop sign. See it as the starting pistol. The dizziness of freedom will never fully disappear, because as long as you are alive, you are free. But now, you know what it is. You can name it. You can befriend it. It is no longer a ghost haunting you in the dark, but a challenging companion on your journey. The task is not to eliminate anxiety, but to have the courage to move through it, the courage to make your leap, the courage to choose your life, and in choosing, to create it. What is one abyss of possibility you are currently facing in your own life? And what is one small leap, no matter how minor, that this video has inspired you to consider? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Turning these ideas into words is the first step of any leap. If this exploration has mirrored something deep within you, subscribe to MindMirror and join our community of self-discoverers. Our next video will explore the science of how your body physically remembers trauma, even when your mind tries to forget. You won't want to miss it.